To my Garninja deck profile. Just want to preface this video, and I'm prefacing all the videos I am a little sick, so you might hear me clear my throat or cough a little bit. I apologize for that, but I'm working the best I can with what I got. So let's hop right into it. So obviously the flag is Katana World. You can't really play Garninjas and anything else, obviously. And then you also got, I have Nincat as the buddy. Nincat doesn't have to be the buddy, but he's free to call, and he's just a good advantage card for the deck anyway, so there's like no reason why not, and plus I honestly find it kind of cute. But anyways, Nincat is a 2/2/1. When he enters the field, if you have another deity dragon tribe on the field, you may drop a hand card. If you do, you put the top card of your deck into your gauge, you gain a life, and you draw a card. So he's a good cycle to try to have you find what you need for the deck. I'm going to try putting it up here for now, see what happens. Starting off with the weapon, just because I want to have you guys just keep the weapon in mind when I get to the ninja art spells. But anyways, the weapon I run is the only one that's out right now. It's Deity Dragon Blade Gar Kunai. It's a 3,000 power 2 crit weapon. It costs a gauge and a life, which is a little expensive. If you have a Dragod on your field, all monsters on your field get 3,000 power and a crit. And it counteracts speed if you're being attacked. If you, the player, is being attacked, so you can't play this. You can't do this ability if like your monsters are being attacked. You can drop a Ninja Arts from your hand, and if you do, you nullify the attack. So, it kind of gives a good duality of abilities to either to your Ninja Arts to either be what they actually are intended for, or if it's kind of a dead card, but it's at least a Ninja Arts, you can use it as a shield. Next, at least for the size 1 lineup, I run 4 Nindogs. He's a 6,000 power, 1 crit, 1,000 defense. When he enters the field, you choose any number of Nindogs, so this copy of Nindog, not other Nindog forms, but just this version, from your deck, and you put any number from among them into your hand and put the rest into your gauge, and then you shuffle your deck. So 9 times out of 10, I tend to just add them all to hand, because then it's at least free fodder to throw away with Nincat. Or other abilities, and plus it helps thin the deck out of useless cards, because now you have all the Nindogs either in your hand or in your gauge if you're really desperate for them. Next up, speaking of Nincat, is 4 Nincats. So like I said before, when he enters the field, if you have another deity dragon tribe on the field, you can drop a hand card, so that's where dropping Nindog, which is kind of pointless in your hand, can be beneficial, because then you can actually draw into something that probably be more useful. So yeah, I already went over Nincat, but I just wanted to re-emphasize that little combo. Next up is Apex of Flash Step, Sukiyaki. He's a 5,002 crit, 1 power, or 1,000 defense monster. You pay 1 gauge to play him. His ability is a named ability, so it's a hard once per turn Nano Machine Flash Step. When it enters the field, you put up to 1 Ninja Arts from your drop zone into your hand, and Nano Machine Flash Step only activates once per turn. Just to quickly note, the 1 gauge that you do pay to play him, you can actually grab that back if that is a Ninja Art and you're aware of what Ninja Art that is. Like if you go first and you charge, I don't know, some Ninja Art, and then you can pay that gauge to play him, and then just grab that Ninja Art back. He's good to grab back some of the core important Ninja Arts for the deck, which we'll get to. Plus, it could be another shield for the player, since it comes back to their hand, and it's the Ninja Arts. Anyways, onto the size 2s, which this is actually not a Katana World card, but per its first ability, you can use this with all flags, is Gargantua Dragon, the original version. He's a 7,000 power, 2 crit, 4,000 defense monster. Like I said, he can be played with all flags at 4 copies. So he is not an Omnilord. Not an Omnilord. God, I sound terrible with my nose stuffy. His call cost is pay 1 gauge and put the top card of your deck into its soul. It has an ability called G Evo, which at the end of the battle of this card, you can call a Dragod monster from your hand on top of him without paying its call cost. And he has double attack and soul guard. So the G Evo could actually go off after either he's being attacked or he's attacking. It doesn't matter which way. But he's obviously the base form for the Garga that you want to transform into. Speaking of Gargars, you want to transform into I run 4 of the Gargantua Wind Demon Dragon. Excuse me. He's a 6,000 power, 2 crit, 6,000 defense monster. His call cost is you put a card from your drop zone into a soul and you pay 1 gauge, which is actually kind of important, which I'll get to in a second. But anyways, his counteract is called Replicate. Put the top card of your deck face down on the field. I'm trying to get a little closer up since there's a little bit of text and there's a lot going on down there. Replicate. Put the top card of your deck face down on the field as a Dragod, size 0, 6,000 power, 6,000 defense, 2 critical monster. Then if this card has a soul with G Evo, you may put another copy on the field. So you can put up to 2 if you have G Evo in the soul of him. And this ability is only once per turn. He has double attack and soul guard. So the reason why his call cost is important of putting a card from your drop zone into its soul and pay 1 gauge is because what you can do is you can put Gargantua Dragon from the drop zone into his soul, and boom, now he can call 2 tokens instead of 1, which is obviously better. So obviously in an ideal situation, you want to call Gargantua Dragon, swaying twice, then G Evo on top of G Evo, Wind Demon Dragon on top, and then, double attack, token spawn, etc. But if you don't have Gargantua Dragon, especially since he can't be tutored for the deck, from the deck, that's a good secondary alternative. Right now I only run Wind Demon Dragon. I know there's Koga Dragon as well, which is fine, but he's just kind of more of a heavy center monster, so I have him in sideboard in case I ever come across like an Thor or something where I need to Shadow Dive. But anyways, moving on to the spells. A little rambling there. Run 4 Searchlights. Its ability is you can put a size 2 or greater ninja from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck, and you can only cast Searchlight once per turn. So he's obviously meant to be a tutor for Wind Demon Dragon since he is a size 2 ninja. And obviously, if you don't need to search for Gargantua Dragon, then you just hold on to this with the Garkunai and just discard it to nullify an attack. Next is Futon Sweeping Whirlwind. It's a Ninja Arts Wind attribute card. Its act is you can put a ninja from your drop zone into your hand, so any ninja. So if you even need to recover Wind Demon Dragon, you just grab it and replay it. Its second ability is when it's discarded from your hand by card effects, you put the top card of your deck into your gauge and draw a card. This card is literally absolutely necessary for the deck. There's a lot of discarding which makes it a wash, but you always want to try to plus off of the discarding. And so the fact that you can discard this, which is normally a minus, but then after the effect resolves, you can gain a gauge and draw a card back, you're really actually plussing. And that's why it's also I run Apex of Flash Step Sukiyaki, so I can re-grab this card from the drop to try to keep plussing more. Card is absolutely necessary. The deck will not function even remotely as well without Futon in the deck. So it's being reprinted, fortunately. So right now they're at $15 a copy, which is pretty ridiculous. But it was just a box topper when it first came out. And then it's being reprinted in a essentially a trial deck, the Triple Punisher set. So it will make it much easier to get and obviously much more consistent. And it'll actually have artwork of the related to Dread Ninjas. Anyways, moving on to Art of Truancy. It's a set spell, and it's just a ninja art, so it's not even a DD Dragon Tribe attribute. All deity Dragon Tribe monsters and items on the field can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Act, you may drop a ninja arts from your hand and pay 1 gauge, and if you do, you draw 2 cards, and you can only activate this once per turn, so it's like a sheet-in ability of paying a gauge and discard to draw 2. You can only set 1 of Art of Truancy on the field, so that's why cards like this, with Futon, you're ditching 1 card to draw 2, which is, technically a +1, so that's good. But then, with Futon, you get the gauge back from the gauge cost, and then you draw again, so it could be potentially a +2, which is obviously, you're never going to complain about that. So, I run 4 just because obviously it's a good advantage card. Plus it helps cover your field from card effects. Now, the next several cards I feel are kind of based on what your local meta is like. especially with ninjas having a lot of different options for different problems. But at least from my deck, I run 4 Art of Shadow Stitching. You can only cast it during attack on an opponent's monster. When an opponent's monster is attacking, you pay 1 gauge, you nullify the attack, and then choose one of the attacking monsters, and for the turn, the card can't stand. So it stops things like double attack, triple attack, anything crazy like that, which the deck obviously needs. And then obviously, worst case, if you have Guard Kunai equipped, but the monsters your opponent has don't have double attack or anything like real threatening, but you just need to at least like nullify the attack and not waste a gauge, you can discard this with Guard Kunai, worst case scenario. Again, still going through some of the cards that are kind of viable options that can change per your build. But I run 2 Hades Flame Style Art of Fire Manipulation. This is a good like offense/defense card. You can go either way, how you want to go about it. Its cast cost is you pay 1 gauge, and at counter speed you choose and use one of the following 2. Either stand a ninja on your field, so then at counter speed then it can attack again, essentially is what it's trying to tell you. That, or you choose a ninja on your field, and for the next time it would be destroyed, it nullifies its destruction, so that means penetrate wouldn't go off as well if it's a center ninja. So yeah, it can cover either your own monster, or if you don't have a monster in the center, then you can discard it again with Guard Kunai to just nullify the attack. Next is I run 2, again, this is another based on your locals. I feel like maybe not so much with this one, but you know, I can understand people don't want to run this, but I run 2 Deity Dragon Ninja Arts Cyclone Sword Dance, and I like the pun about the clones with the wind clones. I'm a sucker for puns. Anyways, it's a ninja arts, and at counter speed, you choose a Dragod monster on your field and stand all monsters on your field with the same power as the chosen card, and you can only cast this once per turn. So basically the point of this is to stand the Wind Demon with his tokens, and then they can all attack again during the battle phase. I kind of consider this the impact of the deck, you know, but instead of having to pay 2 gauge to deal 5 damage and discard the card, obviously, you can just ditch the card and potentially deal 6 more damage, because 2 from each of the from Wind Demon and the 2 tokens. So I guess I consider this a little bit more of an efficient impact. But again, and that's the other problem too, is the impact is not a ninja arts where this is. So worst case, if you do want to discard this with Guard Kunai, you still can. So that's why I like it. It seems to have more flexibility. Moving on. Run 3 Art of Getting Fish. This one could probably be run as either like a 2 or 3 of. But so it has 2 abilities. If it's dropped by card effect, you gain 2 gauge. So Art of Truancy, Garcat, anything like that, at least you're kind of gaining resources back. Sure, it's not a draw, but it's not bad. You know, 2 gauge helps you at least get 2 things, unless you play cards. And then the other ability is you can put a total of 2 Deity Dragon Tribe monsters or items with different names from your drop zone to your hand. And if you put 2 to your hand, you have to discard a card. If you only grab 1, then you just grab the 1. It's just basically a 1-for-1. However, with cards like Futon, Sweeping Whirlwind, you can grab the 2 cards back from the drop, then you can discard Futon, and then it's like Futon goes off and you gauge and draw. So then you're really not even minusing. You're plussing pretty well at that point. But the card itself, if you do play by its normal standard implications of just play the card, grab 2, ditch a card, that's a wash. Just 2 cards for 2 cards. So it's not like, it's at least one of those things where you're not minusing, but obviously if you can plus, then you want to plus with cards in hand. And then lastly, I run 4 Celestial Arts Returning Water. It is a ninja art. I know it's kind of a random card that I feel like probably isn't really thought of initially, but it is a ninja art, so it does work with the deck. Its cast cost is you destroy a monster on your field, and if you do at counter speed, you put the top card of your deck into your gauge, you gain a life and draw a card. So you might be confused as far as why I run this, but this is because you do make tokens, and the token does go to the center. So you can pop this, if your opponent has penetrate or something, you play this, pop your token, your opponent doesn't get to penetrate off, and you don't lose a card because you draw back from playing this. And the token was free to generate anyway, so you're not losing any kind of actual legitimate advantage. And then with Wind Demon on the field, you can actually just respawn a new token if you want during your opponent's turn, since it's counter speed. So yeah, that's and obviously like I've mentioned before with Guard Kunai, if you don't have a monster to pop, then just discard this to nullify an attack. So like I said, there's some cards in here that you know, can vary depending on what your local likes to play, but my locals is pretty even keeled overall as far as what decks they like to play. So I generally speaking tend to try to make pretty even keel strategy ninja decks in that regard. So obviously give it a shot, see if you like it. You know, everyone has their own kind of little bit of a different play style, so I kind of like to have a balanced play style myself. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, if you think any other cards would be good or legitimate or anything that maybe I didn't put in the deck. Keep in mind, this is before the Impact Triple Punisher set. So things like Ninja Arts, Hiding and Falling Leaves isn't out yet. Obviously, I'll put that in the deck. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments or anything. And bye.